Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of LightHearted. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Britton. Today we're talking about a topic that has become quite the buzzword lately. We are talking about self-care.
We want to go deeper than just the surface level. We'll be discussing what self-care truly means and why it's so much more than just bubble baths and face masks.
That's right. We're going to get into the real essence of self-care, how it can be a powerful tool for our healing and growth and finding light, especially when life gets tough, which is what we talk about on these episodes, is that like life gets tough and we want to have tools to combat that.
Yep. Okay, so let's start off with defining what self-care means for each of us. Britton, what does self-care mean to you?
Yeah, for me, I had to take some time to think about this because I think so often we just kind of do things. But for me, it really is just taking the time to check in with myself and to prioritize my own well-being, even when life feels really crazy. Yeah. So for me, it's definitely more than just like treating myself to something nice, even though that's really fun too. And it's just about making sure that my physical, emotional, and mental needs are met, and that doesn't happen every day. It's not every day that I feel like that, but I do try to focus on that. So I think self-care, it's often really misunderstood as something that you do occasionally when you're feeling stressed out.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have a bad day, so then you're like, oh, I need some self-care. But to me, it really is like I'm trying to make it a daily practice. For sure. It's about doing things that nourish my mind, my body, my soul, and just make me feel like I can get through life. Yeah. What about you? What does it mean to you? Thank you.
Self-care is really important to me. Like you said, it's not something that we should just do occasionally when we're stressed and overwhelmed. It's something that, at least for me personally, I try and do every single day. It's about taking time completely to myself. It's about taking care of my physical body, but also my mind as well. It's also time for me to work on my relationship with Christ. Being able to take care of myself daily helps me to not hit those moments as often of being completely overwhelmed and stressed. It still happens, but being able to just take time each day rather than letting it build up and then... So,
yeah,
that's how I feel.
I really like that. And I like to go along with what you're saying. I feel like when we hit that point where it's like, oh my gosh, I just need some self-care right now. I need to do this thing for me. Like you have waited for like too long. Like you've gone too long without doing something for yourself. Yeah. And so those are like little alarm bells.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think even if you're not feeling stressed or overwhelmed, like still implement those little things into your day, even if it's 10 minutes. Yeah. Because it's going to help you so much.
Yeah. And it'll kind of like not always prevent the blaring alarms in your body.
Like I said, it helps me to not hit those moments as often. Yeah. Still do. But not as often.
Yeah, I really love that. I think one of the biggest misconceptions that I have heard about self-care is that it's just about like indulgence. I think sometimes that's how it's portrayed. You know, it's like buying yourself really nice treats or just taking a day off just for funsies, which I mean, that can be it. Okay. But while those things can definitely be a part of it, I think real self-care looks like setting a boundary or saying no, or even working really hard at self-reflection and then doing something about it. I think that is also self-care.
Yeah, that's such an important point. Self-care isn't always glamorous. It's definitely not one size fits all.
Okay, so here's a super random question for you. What is the most non-traditional or unexpected thing that you like to do for self-care? So it's not a face mask or a bubble bath or like what do you do?
Truly, I don't like any of those things. Like, what are you doing?
You're like, huh?
Yeah. I have so many things that it's like so random. I feel like being able to take some time to just play The Sims.
Love that.
Something that I do. I don't do it often. Like I really don't. I haven't done it in a long time. But if I can just take like 4 or 5 hours, I know it's a long time, to just sit and play Sims 4, it makes me so happy.
Where you have like 500 children.
I have like 5. Although those ones stress me out. It's like, oh my gosh. It's so overwhelming.
That's amazing.
But it's also I get to stress about something else that's not real, and that's kind of fun for a minute.
Yeah.
I really like building houses though, so that's what I do when I need to like.
No, I really like that. I kind of do the same thing with Zelda. And I do play it more often than I should probably. But it's a nice escape from reality for a minute. And like, you can reset.
I feel like there's things I try and implement in each day that's small for self-care. And then there's like something that might be a tiny bit bigger that I try and implement with each week.
I really like
and
that.
And then the month like is something even bigger. Recently it's been concerts every month. Like I've had a concert every single month pretty much. So like being able to, build up.
Like set aside time for things that you love.
Yeah.
I really like that.
It's important, guys. So what about you? What's some non-traditional things you do for self-care?
I think for me, if I can keep my physical space organized, I think it really helps my like mental state. So I will say though, I'm not a rage cleaner. So like I don't like get angry with everybody and then like make everyone like stop everything and clean the house. Like, but I have noticed that like if my brain's starting to feel really crazy, that like it's time for me to like go clean off my kitchen island, or it's time for me to clean my desk, or like I need to go make my bed or something. And it's just like, okay, like I fixed something that I had total control over. And for some reason, it just resets something in me.
That's cool.
So that's like my big self-care is like, I cleaned something and it felt good. I would love to talk about some of the myths and misconceptions. We've already kind of touched on a couple of them, but just around self-care that we've heard. So what is one of the biggest myths that you have come across personally?
I think that you have to like spend a bunch of money or like go on some trip, or that it has to be this big thing, or it has to be this traditional thing, like let's have a self-care night and do our skin care and all of that stuff, and those things are good, but I feel like people tend to, that's not self-care. It's like it can be, it's like different things,
but it doesn't have to be,
and it doesn't have to be some glamorous thing. So
like you don't have to go on like a luxury retreat or have a full spa day,
though I would love to do that.
Like we would all love that, but like I agree. I've heard that one a lot too, where it's like the only way to get away is I agree with that. I think one that I have heard that I think we hear a lot is that self-care is very selfish, right? It's like taking time for yourself makes you selfish,
especially as a female, and especially if you're a mom.
I agree. I completely agree with that. So I think people often think that taking time for themselves means that they are just neglecting all of their other responsibilities. I think with moms too, where it's just like, oh, so what are your kids doing then? Yeah. And I think that's really interesting. But in reality, I think we know that like taking time for ourselves, it helps us to actually show up for the people in our lives. So we've already talked about how like we can tell when we haven't been taking care of ourselves. Right. And like taking time for ourselves, because we're just like pouring from an empty cup, right? And you can't do that. It's exhausting.
Yeah, and I feel like every person's going to be different. So some people are going to require more self-care, so it's going to look more selfish, like, oh, well, I don't take that much time to myself for my self-care. But it's like every person's different. Every person needs different things. So yeah, I agree.
I highly recommend, total sidebar, love these. I highly recommend having like a deep conversation about self-care with like the people in your lives. I used to, sorry, Jordan, you're getting thrown under a bus right now. Jordan takes the longest showers on planet Earth. Okay. So for me, I think of showers in like steps that it'll take. And so I hate, like every time I have to do an everything shower, like I dread it, because it's like, and I'm washing my hair and I'm shaving my legs and I'm shaving my armpits and I'm doing 500 other things, like, and I dread it. I don't want to get in, and then like I don't want to blow dry my hair when I get out. I don't want to do any of it. And for Jordan, like he loves taking a good long shower. And so I was just kind of like, what gives? And he was seriously like, you know what? Like that is my form of self-care. Like I love taking long showers. It makes me feel like I'm resetting. It makes me feel good. Like, and I was like, oh, that's so interesting that like something that I dread and that I hate is like for him, like that's what he needs, so that like he can feel ready.
See, I'm the same way. Like if I could take a day to like do an everything shower and blow dry my hair, and I listen to music while I'm in the shower, and I'll do all my skincare, and I'll do the, like, I love like you live
for that.
I love it.
That's awesome. But yeah, like because that was something that was so like foreign to me, such a foreign feeling. I couldn't comprehend how that would be self-care for someone else. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
You guys are similar. I love it. That's why I like you so much.
Because I'm like your husband.
Yeah, you remind me of my husband. It's great. Do you think that there's pressure to make self-care look a certain way because of social media?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know. I feel like, yeah, but I don't know how. I just feel like with social media in general, there's just pressure to be and do and look a certain way. So,
yeah. I think sometimes I look at other people's lives and like what their self-care looks like and like the things that they accomplish.
mm-hmm.
And it's hard because I compare myself to them a lot, where it's like, oh, okay, well, she can wake up at 4 a.m. to make a self-care video and do all of her stuff before that. And like, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice. So my self-care doesn't look the same way as hers.
Right.
And yeah, I think I create my own comparisons. It's not really anybody's fault, but like,
I
do it.
I think too, I will catch myself thinking, oh, I don't deserve self-care. Because I'll be seeing, oh, but they accomplished this many things before they took the time to do whatever it is that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, but I haven't done anything today, so I don't really deserve self-care because I didn't really do anything. And so I feel like that can really mess with your mind too and just make you feel bad. So
yeah, I agree. That's an interesting like self-narrative that we all probably tell ourselves is like, but do I actually deserve that?
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I wonder how normal of a thought process that is. Like if a lot of people
I would say
just
pretty,
experience that. Yeah. Okay. So I think that the whole point of self-care is that it should be practical. It should be sustainable, like something that you can actually make happen for yourself, not something that you feel pressured to perform, just for the sake of looking good online or looking good to others, or like it needs to be specific to you and like what's actually going to help your mental stay where you want
and
it.
what's reachable for you.
Yes. Yeah.
I had a moment like that the other day where I was not feeling mentally the best, and I was like, what would make me happy right now? And I started listing off things, and I was like, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. And then I just got more angry because I was like, I can't go to Disney World right now. That would make me really happy.
I would love to walk across the street to Magic Kingdom.
I would love to do all these things, and I'm like, I can't do that. So
yeah,
try and find some reachable goals. Because otherwise, if you're just looking at things that you can't do and that other people get to do, it's not going to help you at all.
I agree with that. Okay, so I would love if we could both share just a little bit about our own self-care routines. So what's one thing that you do every day that helps you take care of yourself? Like what's something that you just can't skip?
I can't skip. Prayer. I love Bible journaling, although I do skip that sometimes, and I need to quit doing that because I notice when I don't. When I don't have that time, it messes with me for sure. I know I've said this in our first episode, but my skincare is my thing. Like, I have to do it. I don't care how tired I am. Yeah. We're doing the skincare before we go to bed, and we're doing the skincare when we wake up.
And it shows.
I literally just love it. It just makes me feel alive.
I love that. Yeah. I need to be better at that.
It's okay.
I'm working on it.
We all have our strengths and our weaknesses, and that's okay. A good TV show too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Currently watching movies every night, a movie series, and I am living for it. It's the best thing ever.
It's like something to look forward to, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're in Dancing with the Stars season, so.
I love all the TikToks about all of it.
I know.
They're so good. So for me, it doesn't sound like self-care, okay, but it is. Let me explain why. So I feel like eating breakfast for me is really hard. I don't know why. Like, I'm just not that hungry when I wake up. Like, nothing really sounds good. And so, like, I started just buying protein shakes, but it was just like, okay, I need to have something so that I can start the day right. And, like, gives me the energy and the patience that I need to start the day. And so, like, any morning that I skip breakfast, I can totally tell. And so, like, I try to eat, like, as soon as I get up.
Yeah, and see, for some people, that would just be normal. But, like, for you, it's something that...
Like, I have to do it. Yeah. Like, I have to make myself eat when I wake up. Which is weird, because I'm like, I really like food.
I'm the same way though. I don't like eating breakfast.
Yeah, like
I feel
my
like
body's
that's
just not ready
I feel
for
like that's
it.
a normal thing.
I think
I
you're
don't know.
probably right. But yeah, I've definitely noticed that like my energy levels are so much better when I'm like, okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to get some protein, and like that's how I'm going to start my day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need it and I can't skip it.
I love that you know that about yourself. That's really cool. Do you have any other like go-to self-care practices that help you when you're feeling super overwhelmed?
Yeah, I think I've had a really big love-hate relationship with like working out because, you know, like the time we grew up was a little challenging for that. And then I also like, I just used to work out because I hated my body so much. And so, you know, lately I've been trying to like make this mental shift of like, I take care of my body because I love my body and I want it to be healthy and strong and whatever. And so I've noticed that when I go too long in between working out, I can feel it. And it's like my body's just like itching for something.
Yeah.
And so I've noticed when I'm starting to get kind of in that rut, it's like, oh, I like my body is begging for exercise. Like it's just like it wants to move, it wants to do something. So that's usually like my number one go-to is like, okay, I'm going to give it some movement and then it makes me feel better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Is there something
That's literally like the same.
Nuh-uh.
I'm really bad at sticking to a schedule.
Me too.
Like so bad. And I am not a morning person. And like that's like the best time to work out. And I know that, but it's not going to happen.
It's hard.
It's like,
it's hard to get up and work out.
when I have stuck to, it's not even about like, I want to be strong. I want, like literally that has nothing to do with it. That's a benefit that comes along with it. But I am mentally so much happier when I work out.
Yeah.
So
like releases all the endorphins.
it does.
It makes you
I mean,
happy.
it really does. And
yeah.
it's so nice. But yeah,
It's hard to stick to sometimes.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just routine in general.
Yeah.
So I think we should come up with some practical tips as we do for someone who is totally new to self-care and just getting started. So what's your number one tip?
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on it earlier where it was just like, okay, I was trying to make a list in my head of like things that I could do and I couldn't do any of them. So I kind of like to have a self-care menu.
Yeah.
Like almost like written out in a note on your phone if you need to, where it's just like anytime I'm feeling like this, like I have 5 things that I can pick from.
Oh, I love that.
That like will bring me some emotional and mental stability for the time being.
I really like that.
Yeah. And it's like all practical things that you can actually accomplish.
Yeah.
Rachel, what's one of your top tips for promoting self-care in your life?
Number 1, get sleep. That is hard. Get sleep.
I feel called out by that one.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
For real, get sleep, because if you don't have enough sleep, it's not going to work.
Yeah. I feel like emotions escalate a lot quicker when you're tired.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I cried over French fries the other day.
It wasn't about the fries.
It wasn't about the fries. No, but for real, like get sleep. And then I've said this a million times, get a routine.
Yeah.
Like it helps me so much. And I know that it could help everyone. Like if you can just, it doesn't even have to be like this, your whole day is structured out. Like it does not have to be like that. That can be so stressful and overwhelming. And for a lot of people, you can't do that because every day is going to be a little bit different. But if you can keep something routine, I feel like that's going to really help.
One thing with the routine, because I struggle with like minute to minute where it's like, because I'm like, tell me what I want or tell me what I'm supposed to be doing when I feel like you telling me what to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, don't just tell me what to do. And so I like to pick out like my top 3 things that have to get done the next day. But I'll put like self-care items on there where it's like, okay, tomorrow I have to work out. It's a priority.
That's good.
I have to eat breakfast and like I have to
put it on your to-do list.
Play Zelda. Yeah. Like put it on your to-do list and it'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you fill your to-do list full of things that you need to get done, you're never going to get to those things. So put them on the list. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I like that one though. Like building a routine of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I have a few honorable mentions written down here that I just wanted to like go over really quick. Okay. I said to set boundaries and say no without guilt. And I think that is the hardest one for most people, where it's like, I think we've all heard like the no is a complete sentence, right? Like you don't have to explain it away. Yeah. Like, and just being like, you know what? Like, no, I don't have space for that today. Thank you so much for thinking of me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's it. Like, it doesn't have to be a huge deal. It can just be like, I don't have space for that today. Thanks.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's hard
it's
to do.
So
it's
hard.
so hard. Or just, no, I don't want to go to that party.
Yeah.
And I don't have a reason.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
not
no,
sick.
Thanks.
No.
Yeah. And you don't need to make up a reason. You can just say like, no, thank you.
But that is hard to do.
It's so hard. But I think like when we know what our limits are and we're able to not like push past them with certain things. I think with like some things it's good to push past your limits and like put the effort in, you know, but like with things that like you're not excited about, like sometimes it's okay to just be like, you know what? No, I don't want to go to that party. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's okay. Another one is just to be kind to yourself, because it's not about the things you do. Self-care isn't just the things that you do. It's the way that you talk to yourself. It's the way you behave when you're alone.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's so much more than just like, I took a bubble bath today. Yeah. Like it's so much more than that. So I think like self-care is such a behavior.
Definitely.
Yeah. I like to go on like drives. Just like a nice drive.
Me too.
Like just a night, like just like taking time.
Too.
Seeing the country.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I love that.
Taking drives is so much fun.
It's so fun.
Sidebar. So in 2020, I graduated. So old. So I graduated in 2020 and full pandemic, obviously.
Yeah.
And for my graduation, I was like, I just want to do something. So we rented a cabin.
Aww.
And we just went to this cabin and we stayed for like 3 days. And it was fun. However, my mental state was probably at the lowest it's been. I had some triggers happen that week. And so when I say I was losing it, I was losing it. Like I was crawling in my own skin. I was like,
yeah,
wasn't good. It was good that I was on the trip because I feel like it helped a little bit with the anxiety. But then it was kind of sad because then I was like a little bit miserable on my trip, which is not the most fun thing ever. But me and my sister-in-law, she doesn't drive that often, but we just got in the car and she drove on these back roads in a minivan, and we tossed a coin to see if we should turn left or right. It probably wasn't the safest thing ever.
That's
we had no
amazing.
service either.
Oh my gosh.
But it was like something that I could just be like, okay.
Yeah.
And it was so nice because I was losing it.
Sometimes your brain just needs that though.
Yeah.
Like like I'm losing it. I need to get out for a minute.
Yeah, like I physically cannot sit in the house
anymore. I can't be here. Yeah. Yeah. And like I think that's okay. I think like if you leave with the intent to get your head right and come right back, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think intent matters so much. So where it was just like, I can't be here right now. I need to go like figure this out and give myself like a little brain break, and then I can come back and deal with whatever the heck is happening. Like it makes a big difference.
Driving is a big, like I didn't even think of that until now when you said that.
It like
I
heals me
all the time. Like if I'm starting to lose it, I'm going to get in my car. We're going for a drive. And I'm going to drive. And it may not be the best thing for me to drive when I'm completely losing it, because I have had many moments where I'm driving and sobbing, which is probably not the safest, but
it's fine.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love doing that.
I agree. I don't know what it is. If anybody out there, has science to back any of this up, we would love to hear it.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up our self-care episode, I thought we could do some this or that for some activities.
Love it.
And these are more superficial ones, but I thought it would just be fun.
Yeah.
All right. So would you rather, I think I know the answer to this one. Would you rather read a book or listen to a podcast? She laughs immediately. This is a tough one.
Don't know why that's making me laugh so much. That one's so hard for me.
I'll give you time to think about it.
Yeah. What about you? No, it's definitely listen to a podcast. We're laughing because I have never finished a book ever.
It's okay.
A children's book.
That's fine. Children's books are great.
That's so sad.
I'm sure the children's book that you read was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was the Do you know what I'm about to say?
No, what was it?
It's a Kane kids book.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Yeah.
If they wrote
Kane.
an actual book, like an adult book, I would finish. Oh, you best believe.
Kane, you need to write a book so that Rachel can read it.
I've almost finished the Bible.
That's a huge book. That's 1,000,000 little books. That's so many books.
Yeah.
Yeah. That counts. She can read. She's good. She would rather listen to a podcast. Which podcast would you like to listen to?
LightHearted.
That's a really good. That's one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, that one's cool.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
Do you really want to know what?
Yeah. Yeah. What are some of your favorite podcasts? Like your go-tos?
I really do like the Unplanned podcast.
Yeah.
Like they have good guests and stuff. I like that. And then I'm just Candace Cameron Bure fan, so
Yeah.
I listen to her podcast all the time. Sadie Robertson Huff.
Yeah.
She's good. And any podcast that has Kane on as a guest, I have listened to.
It's true.
That has happened. So yes.
That's awesome. I love that. I like to read.
Yeah, we know.
I like to read a lot. You're like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think
I
would
love
pick
that
books.
about you.
Thank you. My little library is like my favorite thing in the world. Okay. Would you rather cook food or order food in?
Order food.
Same.
I like cooking, but I love ordering food. I don't know why. It's like therapy.
Yeah. I love ordering food.
It's
Last
so bad.
night, Jordan got home kind of late from work, and he was just like, hey, I was thinking that we could just order food from my favorite restaurant and like, I'll like go pick it up by yourself in the car.
Oh, that's all the self-cares right there.
And it was just like hearts in my eyes where I was like, yeah,
I can
that
marry
sounds
you.
great. Yeah, for real. I was like, are you married yet? Like,
That's so cute.
yeah, I agree. Like
I
ordering
love it.
food in, it was great. Would you rather wake up early or sleep in?
Sleep in. That one's not hard. Though, once I'm up, I would have rather woke up early.
Yeah.
Like, I feel better. But I hate waking up early.
Yeah. I agree with that. Anytime I stay in bed too long, I feel like I just wake up with like a perma headache. It just won't go away.
Yeah, I'm just, like, my whole body's, like, tired.
Yeah. Yeah. But I agree, like the waking up part is painful.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, would you rather learn how to cook something new or like how to do something new?
Probably something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Just
what
like
it would
learning
be,
a new
but I just
skill.
like learning skills because I like to do things and impress people with all the things I know how
like
to do.
to impress people. I love
Yeah.
that. Okay.
What about you?
Probably learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You already know how to do everything.
You're so nice. I'm really trying. I'm learning a lot of new things. There's a quote, I think by like Henry Ford or something, where he was just saying like, as long as you're learning new things, you stay young. And like, as soon as you stop learning, that's when you get old.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's really interesting. But I think it's true that like elderly people that I know that like continue learning and continue growing and like working on themselves, like they seem to just like be vibrant and happy and like they're living a really good life.
Yeah.
You know?
That's very true.
And like they're fun to talk to. And then like I would classify people as like the crotchety old people where you're just like, man, you hate your life. Like I really think it's just because like they stopped doing things and they stopped learning new things, and like I think you can see it. So I think it's interesting.
Good point.
Okay, would you rather have a movie marathon or binge watch a TV series? I know, two of our favorite things.
Definitely a TV series, I think. It depends on the movies, but yeah, probably a TV series. I could sit and watch a whole season of a TV show better than I could probably sit and watch a movie or two.
I agree.
Like, I feel like it's just different. Like, it's changing enough.
Yeah, the turnaround time's
Yes.
faster.
Yeah.
You get more resolution.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
When season 7 of Once Upon a Time was released, like all at once, we watched it all at once.
Oh, that's awesome.
We stayed up till 5 a.m.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I was just like, I have to watch this. I love this.
Like, take it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different than watching movies, though.
It totally is.
'Cause, like, I can maybe watch like 2 movies back to back, and then I'm like, okay, like I'm like itching to get up and do something else. But yeah, TV shows, I could spend like 9 hours just like watching a TV show.
The only movie marathon I could do is Aurora Tea Garden.
Yeah.
Because I just
might need to try it.
I love them.
That's so cute. I had never heard of them before you said that.
Some of them are not as good as others, but
you love them.
I love them.
Those were all of my little self-care questions that I had, just for funsies. Thanks for playing along. Make sure you send us your favorite form of self-care, and then let us know if we can share it on the pod or on our Instagram.
We hope this episode helped you see self-care in a new light. It's not just a trend, it's a critical part of taking care of your mind, body, and soul.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It helps other people find us when you leave a review. So please do that for us.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram at LightHeartedPod for info and new episodes and behind the scenes content. We would love to hear about your own self-care journeys. DM us and let us know if we can share your story on the pod.
And if you'd like to watch us get ready to film these episodes, you can follow us on our own personal TikToks, which are linked below.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of LightHearted.
This episode was filmed on Buzzsprout in West Virginia.